You want to know if karma is real? Let me tell you something. 10 years ago, I thought I'd found my fairy tale. Today, I'm standing in a federal courthouse watching the man I called my husband get sentenced to 25 years in prison, while 4 other women sit beside me. All of us wearing wedding rings he gave us. All of us believing we were the only one. But here's what they don't tell you about revenge. It's not just about watching someone fall. It's about rising so high they can't even see you anymore. It's about becoming so powerful that the person who tried to destroy you becomes nothing but a footnote in your story. And trust me, by the time I'm done telling you this, you're going to understand exactly how a woman goes from betrayed wife to the architect of the most satisfying takedown you've ever heard. How are you all doing today? I hope you're comfortable. Maybe grab yourself a drink, because this one's going to take you on a journey. Whether you're watching from your living room, your bedroom, or sneaking this in at work, I promise you won't regret staying until the end. My name is Nia, and this is the story of how I went from a woman who thought she had everything to a woman who discovered she had nothing, and then built an empire from the ashes of that lie. This is the story of how betrayal became my greatest teacher, and how the worst day of my life led me to the best version of myself. If you're enjoying this already, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this one, because trust me, I've got more to tell. Share this with someone who needs to hear that survival is possible, that triumph is real, and that sometimes the people who hurt us end up giving us exactly what we needed all along. But let me start from the beginning. I was 22 years old when I met Grant Whitfield at a charity gala in Miami. My father had just started making serious money in real estate development, and I was fresh out of college, naive as they come, believing that good things happen to good people and that love was simple if you just opened your heart. I believed in fairy tales. I believed in forever. I believed that when someone looked you in the eyes and promised you the world, they actually meant it. Grant was 35 then, established, successful, charming in a way that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. He had this presence about him, confident without being arrogant, attentive without being overbearing. He asked about my dreams, my goals, what I wanted from life. He listened like my words were precious. He made me feel seen. We dated for 2 years before he proposed on a beach in the Bahamas at sunset. The ring was perfect. His words were perfect. The way he held me and promised to spend forever making me happy felt perfect. We got married 6 months later in a beautiful ceremony with 200 guests, and I walked down that aisle believing I was the luckiest woman alive. My father loved him. My mother adored him. My best friend Lena, with her golden bronze skin glowing in her bridesmaid dress, pulled me aside at the reception and told me she'd never seen me happier. And I was happy. Deliriously, completely, naively happy. The first few years were everything I'd dreamed. Grant ran his investment firm, traveling frequently for business, but when he was home, he was present. We talked about having children. We planned our future. We bought a beautiful home in Atlanta with enough bedrooms for the family we'd build together. He supported my decision to get my MBA. He encouraged me to pursue my own business ventures. He called me his partner, his equal, his everything. I tried to get pregnant for 5 years. 5 years of hoping, praying, crying every time another test came back negative. Grant held me through it all, told me we had time, told me not to stress, that it would happen when it was meant to happen. He suggested we take breaks from trying, focus on us, travel more. He was so understanding, so patient. Then 3 years ago, my father passed away suddenly. A heart attack at 62. I was devastated. Grant held me at the funeral, stood beside me as I read the eulogy, supported me through the grief that threatened to swallow me whole. When I inherited my father's fortune, $15 million and a portfolio of properties, Grant told me he was proud of me, that my father had built something incredible, that I deserved every penny. He never once made me feel like the money changed anything between us. He had his own wealth, his own success. We were partners. We were equals. We were forever. Or so I thought. I should have seen the signs. The way he always paid for everything in cash. The way he was vague about his business trips, never giving me hotel names or specific itineraries. The way he discouraged me from showing up at his office unexpectedly. The way he kept his phone locked and his laptop password protected. The way he'd disappear for days at a time and come back with perfectly reasonable explanations that I never questioned because I trusted him.
Trust.
That's what they use against you. That's the weapon they wield with precision. They build it carefully, brick by brick, moment by moment, until you've constructed this fortress of belief around them that nothing can penetrate. Until you look at suspicious behavior and explain it away because surely the man you've built a life with wouldn't lie to you about something fundamental. Surely the person who holds you at night and promises you forever wouldn't be living an entirely different life when he walks out your door. I was 32 years old, 10 years into what I believed was my marriage, when everything I thought I knew shattered in a single afternoon. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I'd just finished teaching a business ethics class at the university where I'd started working as an adjunct professor. I came home early, planning to surprise Grant with dinner since he was supposed to be in town for the next few days. I pulled into our driveway, grabbed my bags from the car, and noticed an unfamiliar vehicle parked on the street. A rental car. I was unlocking the front door when I heard footsteps behind me. Nia Thompson? I turned to find a woman standing at the bottom of my porch steps. She was stunning, with rich ebony skin and an expression that somehow managed to be both sympathetic and determined. She was holding a large envelope in her hands. "Yes," I said, confused. "Can I help you? My name is Sasha." She climbed the steps slowly, like she was approaching a scared animal. "Sasha Whitfield. And I think we need to talk about the man we both call our husband." I laughed. Actually laughed. Because the statement was so absurd, so impossible, that humor was the only response that made sense. "I'm sorry, what? Can we go inside?" she asked quietly. "What I need to show you, you don't want your neighbors to witness." Something in her voice made me open the door. Something in her eyes made me let her inside my home. Something in the way she looked at me, not with anger or competition but with sad understanding, made me pour us both coffee and sit across from her at my kitchen table while she opened that envelope and laid out documents that would destroy my entire world. The first was a marriage certificate. Grant Michael Whitfield and Sasha Marie Johnson. Dated August 15th, 2008. 5 years before Grant and I had gotten married. "There's a mistake," I said immediately. "That's not possible. Grant and I got married in 2013. He wasn't married before. He told me he'd been engaged once, but it didn't work out." "He told me I was his first wife too," Sasha said softly. She pulled out another document, a death certificate. For Sasha Marie Whitfield. Dated March 2012. "He faked my death. Had me declared legally dead after he convinced me to disappear for a year to deal with what he said was a stalker situation. I trusted him. I believed he was protecting me. When I finally came back, trying to reclaim my life, I discovered he'd told everyone I died in a car accident overseas. He'd collected life insurance. He'd moved on." My hands were shaking. "This doesn't make sense. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just divorce you? Because divorce means splitting assets. Death means he keeps everything." She laid out more papers. Bank statements showing systematic withdrawals from accounts in her name. Property deeds transferred solely to Grant's name. Life insurance policies with him as the sole beneficiary. "He's not who you think he is, Nia. And you're not the only one he's done this to." "What do you mean?" "I mean I've spent the last 3 years tracking him, trying to figure out how to prove what he did to me. And in that time, I found 3 other women, including you, who believe they're married to Grant Whitfield." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the table. 3 others? You, me, a woman named Patricia in Dallas, and a woman named Jennifer in Seattle. All of us legally married to him. None of our marriages annulled or dissolved. All of us with significant family wealth or inheritances. All of us believing we're his one, and only while he rotates between us on what he calls business trips. I stood up so fast my chair fell backward. "Get out. I don't know what kind of scam you're trying to pull, but my husband is not a bigamist. He's not a con artist. You've got the wrong person."
"Nia."
She didn't move, didn't flinch. She just looked at me with those sad, knowing eyes. I was you 3 years ago. I said the same things. I defended him. I threw out the private investigator who came to me with evidence. And then I watched him stage my death and steal everything my parents had left me. Don't make my mistake. Don't waste 3 more years of your life before you're willing to see the truth. Get out, I repeated, but my voice was shaking. She stood, gathered her documents, but left one photo on the table. A picture of Grant with another woman, his arm around her. Both of them smiling at what was clearly a recent event based on his haircut, which he'd just gotten last month. The woman was wearing a wedding ring. He was wearing his ring, the one that matched mine. That's Jennifer, Sasha said quietly. Taken 6 weeks ago at a charity event in Seattle. The same week he told you he was at a business conference in Chicago, I'm guessing? He had been in Chicago. He'd called me from the hotel. He'd sent me pictures of the conference center. Think about it, Sasha said, heading for the door. Think about all the little things that never quite added up. Think about why you've been trying to get pregnant for years when he travels so frequently. Think about why he's always vague about his business. Think about why he pays for everything in cash. And when you're ready to face the truth, call me. She left her card on the counter. Then she walked out, leaving me standing in my kitchen, staring at a photo that couldn't be real, holding evidence that couldn't be true, feeling my entire world crack apart at the seams.
I didn't call her that day, or the next day, or the day after that.
I did what you do when you're in denial. I investigated on my own. I went through Grant's home office when he left for one of his trips, searching for something, anything that would prove Sasha was lying. I found business documents that seemed legitimate, tax returns that showed significant income, investment portfolios that looked real. But I also found 3 phones hidden in his desk drawer. Not his regular phone. 3 others, each labeled with a small piece of tape. P.
G.
S. I turned them on with shaking hands. They were all locked with passcodes I didn't know. But the notifications that popped up on the screens told me everything I needed to know. Text message preview on the phone labeled P. Can't wait to see you next week, my love. Email preview on the phone labeled J. Transfer completed. The account in the Caymans is ready. Voicemail notification on the phone labeled S. Grant, baby, I'm starting to worry.
Call me.
I sat on the floor of his office and cried until I couldn't breathe. Then I called Sasha. She answered on the first ring. Are you ready to hear the rest? Tell me everything, I said. We met at a coffee shop the next morning. She brought a man with her, tall and handsome with warm caramel brown skin and intelligent eyes that seemed to see right through all my defenses. This is Khalil Morrison, Sasha said. He's the private investigator who helped me start uncovering the truth about Grant. He's been tracking Grant's movements for the past 2 years. Khalil shook my hand, his grip firm and reassuring. I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances, Mrs. Thompson. It's not Thompson, I said bitterly. Apparently, it's not anything legal at all. He pulled out a laptop and opened files that made my stomach turn. Photos of Grant with different women in different cities. Financial records showing a complex web of accounts and transfers. Property records showing homes and investments registered under various corporate entities. And a timeline that laid out 15 years of systematic fraud. Grant Whitfield isn't even his real name, Khalil explained, his voice calm and professional, but not without compassion. He was born Marcus Grant Wheeler in Ohio. Small-time con artist who graduated to bigger targets about 20 years ago. He's been marrying wealthy women, draining their assets, and either staging their deaths or manipulating them into disappearing for the past 15 years. You're number 7 that we've been able to confirm. 7. I repeated numbly. 5 are still active. 2 he successfully staged deaths for and collected insurance payouts. Sasha was supposed to be number 3, but she survived and started investigating. Why didn't you go to the police? I asked Sasha.
I did, she said.
They told me I'd need proof that would hold up in court. He's careful. Everything he does is technically explainable. The fake death certificate? He had a corrupt doctor overseas sign it, claiming I died in a remote area. By the time I resurfaced, the statute of limitations on some charges had passed, and others were hard to prove. I was declared dead. Reversing that legally took 2 years. By then, he'd covered his tracks well enough that local police said it was a civil matter, not criminal. I'd need federal involvement, and that requires evidence of interstate fraud, which is what we've been building. Khalil leaned forward. Here's what we know about his pattern. He targets women from wealthy families, usually with recent inheritances or trust funds. He courts them carefully, marries them, spends several years building trust while slowly gaining access to their financial accounts. He convinces them to make certain transfers, investments, or changes to their estate planning. Then, when he's positioned himself correctly, he either stages their death or manipulates them into a situation where they disappear voluntarily. In your case, Nia, you just inherited $15 million 3 years ago. You've been married long enough that estate laws in Georgia would give him significant claim to your assets. And based on communications we've intercepted, he's planning to stage your death within the next 6 months. The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too bright, too loud. He's going to kill me? He's going to make it look like an accident, Khalil said gently. Probably while you're traveling together. Boating accident, car accident, something that leaves no body or makes identification difficult. Then he'll collect on your life insurance, inherit your estate as your widower, and move on to the next target. Why are you telling me this? I asked, looking between them. Why not just go to the FBI? Because we need evidence that will stick, Sasha said intensely. We need him caught in the act, on record, planning or attempting something that can't be explained away. We need to coordinate with the other wives, get them to safety, and build a case that's ironclad. And we need your help to do it. My help. You're the one with the freshest access, Khalil explained. The one he doesn't suspect is onto him yet. If you're willing, we can use that. We can build a case from the inside while we protect you. What would I have to do?
Guida White.
Document everything.
Get him talking about his plans.
Help us establish a timeline of his movements. Connect us with the other wives so we can coordinate. He paused. It's dangerous. If he suspects what you're doing, he might accelerate his plans. But it's also the best shot we have at stopping him and getting justice for everyone he's hurt. I looked at Sasha. You're sure about this? You're sure he's planning to kill me? Nia, he tried to kill me, she said quietly. That car accident that supposedly killed me overseas? It was real. He tampered with my brakes while I was staying in Costa Rica at a house he'd rented. I survived because a farmer found me at the bottom of a ravine. I spent 3 months in a hospital recovering. By the time I could contact anyone, I was already declared dead. He's not just a con artist. He's a murderer who's gotten away with it for years. I thought about the past 10 years. The man who held me at night. The man who made love to me. The man I'd trusted with every piece of my heart. And I tried to reconcile that man with the monster they were describing. I need time to think, I said. You don't have much time, Khalil said. Based on his patterns and recent financial moves, we estimate he'll make his move within 3 to 4 months. You need to decide quickly. I went home and stared at my wedding photos, looked at the smiling couple who had promised forever, tried to find evidence of the lie in his eyes, some hint that the man standing beside me in a tuxedo was capable of murder. Grant came home 2 days later from his trip to Dallas. He kissed me at the door, asked about my week, told me about his successful business meetings. He was attentive, loving, normal. We made dinner together. We watched a movie. We went to bed like we had 1,000 times before. And as he slept beside me, I watched him and wondered how many times he'd done this exact thing with other women. How many times he'd kissed someone else and called them his wife. How many times he'd laid in bed planning their deaths. The next morning, I called Khalil. I'll do it, I said. Tell me what you need. The first step was meeting the other wives. Khalil and Sasha had been working for months to establish contact without alerting Grant. Patricia was 45, a widow who'd inherited her late husband's tech company fortune. Jennifer was 38, a former model who'd inherited a massive trust fund from her grandparents. Both of them were devastated to learn the truth. Both of them agreed to help. We met in a hotel room in Birmingham, Alabama, neutral territory that Grant had no connection to. It was the strangest, most painful meeting of my life. For women who'd all loved the same man, all worn the same ring, all believed the same promises. He told me I was the love of his life, Patricia said, her voice hollow. That his first wife had died of cancer, and he never thought he'd love again until he met me. He told me his parents were dead, and he had no siblings, Jennifer added. That I was his only family now. He told me he'd never been married, I said. That he'd been engaged once, but she'd cheated on him and broken his heart. Sasha just shook her head. He tells everyone what they need to hear. He's studied us, learned our vulnerabilities, positioned himself as exactly what we needed. That's what makes him so dangerous. He doesn't just con us financially. He cons us emotionally. He makes us believe we've found something real. Khalil had each of us sign affidavits detailing our relationships with Grant. He documented our marriage certificates, our financial records, everything Grant had taken or manipulated. He showed us how Grant operated through a network of shell corporations and offshore accounts, moving money in ways that were difficult to trace, but had left just enough of a trail for a skilled investigator to follow. Here's the plan, he said, spreading documents across the table. Each of you goes back to your normal life. You don't confront him. You don't let on that anything's changed. Nia, you're going to wear a wire whenever you're with Grant. We need him to talk about his plans, his financial arrangements, anything that establishes intent. Sasha and I will coordinate with federal authorities to get them prepared to move once we have enough evidence. What about the other wives? I asked. If there are more women, don't they deserve to know? We're working on it, Sasha said. But we have to be careful. If word gets out that we're onto him, he'll disappear. He's done it before. We need to move quickly, but strategically. Over the next 3 months, I lived a double life that would have been impossible to imagine before. During the day, I was Nia Thompson Whitfield, loving wife, university professor, woman planning her future with her husband. At night, I met with Khalil and Sasha, turned over recordings, planned our next moves. Wearing the wire was terrifying at first. It was a small device hidden in a necklace I wore constantly. Every conversation with Grant felt loaded with danger. Every time he hugged me, I wondered if he could feel it. Every time he kissed me, I wanted to scream. But I kept my composure. I asked questions about his business. I mentioned my inheritance and asked his advice on investments. I brought up our future, children, growing old together. And slowly, carefully, Grant started revealing pieces of his real self. You know, maybe we should consider setting up some offshore accounts, he said one evening over dinner. For tax purposes. Legal, of course, but strategic. Why offshore? I asked casually, taking a sip of wine. Privacy, mostly. Asset protection. It's what wealthy people do, Nia. Your father should have done it years ago. Would have saved you a lot in taxes now. Would you help me set that up? His eyes lit up in a way that made my skin crawl. Of course. That's what I'm here for. To protect you and everything your father built. I got him talking about account structures, shell corporations, ways to move money without leaving obvious trails. I got him discussing life insurance policies and estate planning. I got him comfortable enough that he started making comments about how tragic it would be if something happened to me, how important it was that my assets were protected in case of the unexpected. We should increase your life insurance, he said one night. You're only covered for $1 million. With your net worth, you should be covered for at least 10, maybe 15. That seems excessive, I said, my heart pounding. It's not about expecting something to happen, he said smoothly. It's about being responsible. What if there's an accident? What if something happens while we're traveling? I'd want to make sure everything we've built together is protected. You'd be the beneficiary? Of course. We're married. But I'd use it to honor your memory, create something in your name, maybe a scholarship fund or a foundation for the causes you care about. He reached across the table and took my hand. I love you, Nia. I just want to make sure you're protected. I smiled and nodded and went to the bathroom and threw up. The recordings were damning, but Khalil said we needed more. We needed evidence of actual criminal intent, not just suspicious financial advice. That evidence came when Grant announced we were taking a vacation. "I think we need a getaway," he said one morning. "Just the two of us. Somewhere tropical and remote." I was thinking the Maldives or maybe a private island rental in the Caribbean. "That sounds amazing," I said, forcing enthusiasm into my voice. "I'll handle all the arrangements. You just pack and be ready to be pampered for 2 weeks." As soon as he left for work, I called Khalil. "This is it," he said grimly. "This is when he'll make his move. Remote location, just the two of you, easy to stage an accident." "What do I do?" "You go. But you don't go alone. Sasha and I will be there, watching, ready to intervene. And you keep that wire on at all times." The 2 weeks before the trip were the longest of my life. I went through the motions of excitement, shopping for the trip, talking about what we'd do, all while knowing Grant was planning my death. My best friend Lena pulled me aside at lunch one day. Her golden bronze skin glowed in the afternoon sun as we sat on her patio, but her eyes were worried. "What's going on with you?" she asked. "You seem different." Distracted. I wanted to tell her everything. Wanted to unload this massive weight I was carrying. But Khalil had warned me to keep the circle small, to not risk any information getting back to Grant. "Just stressed with work." I lied.
And all the trip planning. Nia.
She reached across the table and took my hand. "We've been friends since college. I know when you're lying to me. Whatever's going on, you can tell me." "Not yet," I said quietly. "But soon. I promise. Just trust me that I'm handling something important, and I need to do it carefully." She studied my face for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, but when you're ready to talk, I'm here. Always." 3 days before we were supposed to leave for our trip, Grant came home with a gift. A beautiful bracelet, sapphires and diamonds, easily worth tens of thousands of dollars. "For my beautiful wife," he said, fastening it around my wrist. "To wear on our trip. I want you to feel as special as you are to me." I looked at the bracelet, heavy and cold on my wrist, and thought about how this was probably purchased with money he'd stolen from one of his other wives. How this gift was part of the performance, the lie he was so skilled at maintaining. "It's beautiful," I said. "But Grant, this must have cost a fortune." "You're worth it," he said, kissing my forehead. "You're worth everything." That night, while he slept, I recorded a video on my phone. Just me, sitting in our bathroom, speaking quietly to the camera. "My name is Nia Thompson. I'm 32 years old. If something happens to me, if I die on this trip to the Caribbean, it was not an accident. My husband, Grant Whitfield, is a con artist and murderer who has been systematically defrauding and killing wealthy women for 15 years. I am wife number 7. I know the truth. I am working with a private investigator named Khalil Morrison and another survivor named Sasha Whitfield to bring him to justice. If this video is being watched, it means he succeeded in killing me before we could stop him.
Please give this to the FBI.
Please make sure the other wives are warned and protected. And please make sure he pays for what he's done." I sent the video to Lena with a message. "Don't open this unless something happens to me. If I don't contact you within 72 hours of when I'm supposed to be back from my trip, watch this and take it to the police." Then I packed my bags for a vacation that might be my last. The island was beautiful. A private resort in the Bahamas, just 12 luxury villas spread across white sand beaches and crystal clear water. Grant had rented one of the most remote villas, accessible only by boat, with no neighbors within shouting distance. Perfect for romance. Perfect for murder. Khalil and Sasha were staying 3 villas down, registered under fake names, watching and waiting. I wore my wire necklace constantly, even in the shower, even when we went swimming. The first few days were peaceful. Grant was attentive and loving, the perfect husband. We had romantic dinners on the beach, went snorkeling, lay in the sun together. At night, he made love to me with a tenderness that would have seemed genuine if I didn't know the truth. On the 4th day, he suggested we go deep-sea fishing. "I've chartered a private boat," he said over breakfast. Just you, me, and the captain. We'll go out into the open ocean, catch some big fish, have an adventure. My hands shook as I lifted my coffee cup. That sounds fun. Wear your bracelet, he said casually. And that necklace you've been wearing. I want to take photos of you looking beautiful on the water. The necklace. He wanted me to wear the wire.
Why?
I texted Khalil from the bathroom. He specifically told me to wear the necklace. Does he know? The response came back quickly. Possible. Or coincidence. Either way, we'll be tracking you.
Coast Guard is on standby.
Don't get on that boat alone with him. But how could I refuse without revealing that I knew? If I suddenly backed out, Grant would know something was wrong. I made a decision. I went back to the breakfast table and smiled at my husband. Actually, you know what? Can we invite the couple from Villa 12? The ones we met at the bar yesterday? They mentioned they love fishing, and I think it would be more fun with other people. Grant's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. I thought it would be romantic, just the two of us. We have every other day together, I said lightly. Come on, it'll be fun to make new friends. He agreed, but I could see the frustration in his eyes. I just disrupted his plan. That night, he suggested we go cliff diving at a remote spot on the island. Just the two of us, he insisted. At sunset. It'll be breathtaking. Khalil's voice came through the tiny earpiece hidden in my ear when Grant was in the shower. Don't go. Make an excuse. Anything. I told Grant I wasn't feeling well, that I thought I might have had too much sun. He was solicitous, brought me water, suggested I rest. But I could see the calculation in his eyes, the frustration of another thwarted opportunity. He was running out of time. Our trip was only 2 weeks long, and we were already halfway through. I could feel his desperation growing, his plans falling apart. On day 9, I woke up in the middle of the night to find Grant's side of the bed empty. I lay there in the darkness, listening, and heard him on the phone outside on the villa's deck. I crept to the window and activated the recording function on my wire. I don't care if it's complicated, Grant was saying, his voice low but angry. The timeline is already shot. She's being difficult, changing plans, involving other people. I might need to adjust the approach. Silence as he listened. No, the insurance policy increase didn't go through yet. She's been dragging her feet on the paperwork. If I do this now, it's only the original million plus whatever I can access from her accounts before the estate gets locked down. My blood ran cold. I'm aware that's not ideal, he continued. But at this point, it's better to move forward with reduced returns than risk exposure. She's been acting strange lately. I think she might suspect something. More silence.
Fine.
Tomorrow night, there's a beach party at the resort. Lots of alcohol, lots of people. She goes for a late-night swim alone. Tragic drowning accident. Body recovered the next morning. Clean, simple, and the other guests will provide witnesses that she was drinking and seemed upset about something. He was planning to kill me tomorrow. I barely slept that night. Lay beside him, listening to him breathe, wondering how many times he'd done this before. How many women had spent their last night beside him, not knowing that the man they loved was planning their death. In the morning, Khalil contacted me. We got everything. The FBI is moving in today. Stay in public spaces, don't be alone with him, and trust us. The beach party that night was exactly as Grant had described. Music, dancing, alcohol flowing freely. Grant was charming and attentive, introducing me to other guests, making sure I had drinks, encouraging me to relax and have fun. You seem tense, he said, pulling me close on the dance floor. Is everything okay? Everything's perfect. I lied, looking into the eyes of the man who'd planned to murder me in a few hours. At 9 p.m., Khalil and Sasha appeared at the party. They walked straight toward us, and with them were 4 FBI agents. Grant saw them coming. I felt him tense beside me, felt him calculating whether he could run. Grant Whitfield, one of the agents said, showing his badge. Also known as Marcus Grant Wheeler. You're under arrest for fraud, bigamy, attempted murder, and interstate racketeering. Everything happened fast after that. Grant tried to run, but agents grabbed him. He fought, shouting that this was a mistake, that he was innocent, that his wife would vouch for him. Actually, I said, pulling the necklace from under my dress and holding up the tiny recording device, your wife has been recording everything you've said for the past 3 months, including your plan to stage my drowning death tonight. The look on his face was something I'll never forget. Shock, rage, disbelief, and finally, grudging respect. You're smarter than I thought, he said as they cuffed him. You're not as smart as you thought, I replied. They took him away, and I stood on that beach, surrounded by confused party guests, and felt the weight of 10 years of lies finally lift from my shoulders. The next few months were a whirlwind. The FBI's investigation uncovered everything. 8 wives total, not 7. 2 women whose deaths had been ruled accidents were exhumed, their cases reopened as homicides. Grant had stolen over $40 million over 15 years. He'd constructed an entire false identity, complete with fabricated business credentials and a network of associates who helped him maintain his cons in exchange for a percentage of his takes. The trial was public and devastating. Each of us testified, told our stories, presented our evidence. Grant's defense tried to paint us as bitter, vindictive women who'd misunderstood a man's legitimate business dealings.
The jury didn't buy it.
25 years for fraud. 25 years for bigamy. 2 life sentences for murder. No possibility of parole. I sat in that courtroom, flanked by Sasha, Patricia, Jennifer, and the other wives we'd found during the investigation, and watched him be led away in chains. He looked back at me once, and I met his eyes without flinching. The woman he'd tried to kill was gone. The woman staring back at him was someone else entirely. Someone stronger. Someone who'd turned his betrayal into her power. But here's what nobody tells you about surviving something like this. The victory doesn't erase the pain. The justice doesn't undo the years of lies. The closure doesn't stop the nightmares where you wake up wondering if any of it was ever real. I spent 6 months in therapy after the trial. Worked through trust issues, abandonment fears, the shame of being fooled so completely. My therapist reminded me constantly that I wasn't stupid or naive. I was human. I'd loved someone, and that person had weaponized that love against me. Lena was there through all of it. When I finally told her everything, she held me while I cried for hours. She helped me pack up the house I'd shared with Grant, helped me sort through 10 years of memories and decide what to keep and what to burn. We had an actual bonfire in her backyard, fed it wedding photos and love letters and all the evidence of a life that never existed. You know what I keep thinking about? I said, watching the flames consume a photo of Grant and me on our honeymoon. How much time I wasted. 10 years. That's a decade of my life given to a lie. That's not how you should look at it, Lena said, her golden bronze skin glowing in the firelight. You didn't waste 10 years. You survived 10 years with a predator and came out alive. You turned the tables on him. You saved lives. That's not time wasted. That's time that made you who you are now. She was right, but it took me a while to believe it. The other wives and I stayed in contact. We formed a support group, meeting monthly to help each other heal. Sasha became one of my closest friends. We'd been through something together that few people could understand. We'd looked into the face of our own mortality and decided we weren't going to be victims anymore. But there was someone else who'd been through it with me. Someone whose presence had become as essential as breathing over those months of investigation and danger. Khalil. I'd tried not to think about him that way during the investigation. He was the private investigator. I was the client. We were working toward a common goal. The fact that I found myself looking forward to our meetings, that I noticed the way his warm caramel brown skin crinkled around his eyes when he smiled, that I felt safer just being near him. All of that had to be pushed aside because I had a job to do. But after the trial, when the danger was over and Grant was locked away, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Neither could he. He came to see me 3 weeks after sentencing. I was living in a new apartment, starting over, trying to figure out who Nia was when she wasn't being someone's wife. He showed up at my door with takeout from the Jamaican restaurant I'd mentioned loving months ago. I thought you might need a friend, he said, and some good curry. We sat on my floor, boxes still unpacked around us, and ate and talked about everything except the case. He told me about growing up in Kingston before his family moved to the States when he was 12. I told him about my childhood in Atlanta, my father's journey from Jamaica to America, and his determination to build something lasting.
He did, Khalil said. He built you.
And what Grant tried to destroy, you rebuilt into something even stronger. I don't feel strong most days, I admitted. I feel broken. I feel like I'll never be able to trust anyone again. That's normal, he said quietly. Trust isn't something that comes back overnight. It's something you rebuild slowly, with people who prove they're worthy of it. And how do I know who's worthy? He was quiet for a moment, then set down his food and looked at me directly. You watch them. You see what they do when there's nothing in it for them. You see if they're consistent, if their actions match their words, if they show up when things are hard, not just when things are easy. Is that what you did? I asked. Showed up when things were hard? I did what was right, he said. What you needed. What those women needed. But I'm not going to lie to you, Nia. Somewhere along the way, it stopped being just a case for me. Somewhere along the way, you became someone I thought about when I woke up in the morning and before I fell asleep at night. Someone whose smile I looked forward to seeing even in the middle of investigating a nightmare. My heart was pounding. Khalil. I'm not asking you for anything, he said quickly. I know you need time. I know you need space to heal. I just wanted you to know that when you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'm here. Not as an investigator. Not as someone trying to fix you. Just as someone who sees you and thinks you're remarkable.
I didn't kiss him that night.
I wasn't ready. But I asked him to stay and talk, and we sat up until 3 a.m, sharing stories and dreams and fears. And when he left, I stood at my door watching him walk away and realized that for the first time in months, I felt something other than pain and anger. I felt hope. Over the next year, Khalil and I built something real. Not rushed, not desperate, not based on crisis or trauma, but genuine and honest. He took me on actual dates. Movies, dinners, walks in the park where we just talked about nothing important. He met Lena, who gave him the best friend interrogation, and afterward told me she approved. He never pushed, never demanded more than I was ready to give, never made me feel like I had to perform or be anyone other than exactly who I was. This is what it's supposed to feel like, Sasha told me one day when I was describing my relationship with Khalil.
Easy.
Comfortable.
Safe.
Not that spark that's really just danger in disguise, but actual warmth.
Actual partnership.
She was dating again, too. So were Patricia and Jennifer. All of us learning to trust again, learning to recognize red flags, learning the difference between intensity and intimacy. But I wasn't just rebuilding my personal life. I was building something bigger. With the money I recovered from Grant's accounts, plus my inheritance that he'd never managed to fully steal, I started a foundation. The Surviving Deception Foundation, dedicated to helping victims of romance fraud, financial manipulation, and domestic deception. We provided legal assistance, financial counseling, therapy services, and support groups. We trained law enforcement on recognizing sophisticated con artists. We educated the public on warning signs and protection strategies. Sasha came on as co-director. Her experience, combined with mine, made us uniquely positioned to help others. We hired Khalil's investigative firm to assist victims in uncovering the truth about their situations. We partnered with universities to research the psychology of con artists and the vulnerability factors that made people susceptible to these crimes. Within 2 years, we'd helped over 300 people. Some had lost everything, some had caught on early, but all of them needed to know they weren't alone, weren't stupid, weren't to blame for trusting someone who'd lied to them. I told my story publicly, did interviews, wrote articles, spoke at conferences. It was terrifying at first, exposing my pain and humiliation to strangers. But every time I shared, someone would come up to me afterward and say, "Thank you. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was crazy." That made it worth it. 3 years after Grant's sentencing, Khalil proposed to me on the beach in Jamaica. Not the Bahamas where Grant had tried to kill me, but Jamaica, where both our families had roots, where our grandparents had walked, where our story could be about heritage and hope instead of trauma and betrayal. I know marriage means something different to you now, he said, holding my hands as waves crashed behind us. I know that word, that institution, it's complicated. So, I'm not just asking you to marry me. I'm asking you to build a life with me. A real one. An honest one. One where we choose each other every day, not because of obligation or legal papers, but because we want to be together. And if you want to get married to make it official, I'm all in. But if you just want to be partners without the ceremony, I'm all in for that too.
I'm all in for you, Nia.
However you'll have me. I said yes to everything. To partnership, to marriage, to building a life, to choosing each other every single day. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony with just close family and friends. Sasha was my maid of honor. Lena stood beside her, both of them glowing with happiness for me. Patricia and Jennifer were there, along with the other survivors from our support group. My mother cried through the whole ceremony, holding onto my hand before I walked down the aisle. Your father would be so proud of you, she whispered. Not just for surviving, but for thriving. For taking what tried to destroy you and using it to help others. Khalil and I wrote our own vows. No generic promises that could be twisted or broken. Specific commitments about communication, honesty, respect, and partnership. I promise to tell you the truth, even when it's hard, I said, looking into his eyes. I promise to trust you until you give me reason not to, and then to talk to you about my concerns instead of hiding them. I promise to see you as you are, not as who I want you to be. I promise to build this life with you, not for you or through you, but with you as my equal partner. I promise to earn your trust every day, he said, his voice steady. I promise to be consistent, to show up, to be honest even when I'm scared. I promise to see your strength without ignoring your vulnerability. I promise to love you without trying to fix you, because you're not broken. You're whole, you're perfect, and you're mine if you'll have me. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. We honeymooned in Ghana, connecting with our African roots, creating new memories in places Grant had never touched. We talked about the future, about whether we wanted children, about how to blend our work lives with our personal dreams. I never thought I'd want to try again, I told Khalil one evening as we watched the sunset over the ocean. But with you, I do. I want to build a family. I want to create something real. We have time, he said, pulling me close. We have all the time in the world to figure out what our family looks like. And whatever we decide, it'll be right because we'll decide it together. For years after Grant's sentencing, I got pregnant. It happened naturally, without the stress and pressure I'd experienced before. The doctors couldn't explain why it hadn't worked during my years with Grant, but I had my theories. Stress, the body knowing something the mind didn't, the universe protecting me from bringing a child into that toxic situation. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in spring. We named her Maya, after the poet Maya Angelou, because she represented hope and the power of rising above circumstances. Holding her in my arms, looking at Khalil beside me with tears in his eyes, I felt a completeness I'd never experienced before. This was real. This was honest. This was worth every painful step it took to get here. The foundation continued to grow. By year 5, we had offices in 12 states and had helped over 2,000 people. We'd successfully lobbied for stronger laws around romance fraud and financial manipulation. We'd trained thousands of law enforcement officers and legal professionals. We'd saved lives and helped survivors reclaim their power. Grant sent letters from prison sometimes. Apologies that rang hollow. Explanations that changed nothing. Pleas for forgiveness that I refused to grant. I never responded. He didn't deserve my words, my energy, or my forgiveness. He deserved exactly what he got, consequences. But I did write him one letter, 7 years after his sentencing. You thought you could break me, I wrote. You thought you could take everything that mattered and leave me with nothing. But what you didn't understand is that you never had the power to define me. You could take my money, my time, my trust, but you couldn't take my strength. You couldn't take my worth. You couldn't take my ability to rise from the ashes of your betrayal and build something beautiful. I'm not writing this to thank you. because I don't thank predators for their crimes. But I want you to know that your worst act against me became the catalyst for my greatest transformation. You thought you were ending my story. Instead, you gave me the plot twist that led to my triumph. I'm happy now. Genuinely, completely happy. I have a husband who loves me honestly. I have a daughter who will grow up knowing what real love looks like. I have meaningful work that helps others survive what you put us through. I have a life so rich and full that you're barely a footnote in it. You're in prison for the next several decades. I'm free in every sense of the word. And that, Grant, is the real revenge. Not that you're locked up, but that I'm not. Not physically, not emotionally, not mentally. You have no power over me anymore. You never really did. You just convinced me you did, and now I know better. I'll never write to you again. This is closure for me, not connection. When I walk away from this letter, I'm walking away from you permanently. You'll rot in prison while I live my beautiful life. And that's exactly how the story was always meant to end. I sent it and never looked back. Now, standing here today, looking back on everything that happened, I can honestly say I'm grateful for the journey. Not grateful for the pain, not grateful for the betrayal, but grateful for the person it forced me to become. Grateful for the strength I discovered. Grateful for the people I met along the way who became family. Grateful for the second chance I got to do life right. I'm 39 now, 7 years past the darkest moment of my life. Maya is 4 and already showing signs of her father's investigative mind and her mother's determination. The foundation is international now, helping survivors across the globe. Khalil and I just celebrated 6 years of marriage, and every morning I wake up grateful for the honest, real love we've built. Sasha is happily remarried to a wonderful man she met at one of our foundation events. Patricia has a thriving therapy practice specializing in helping fraud victims. Jennifer wrote a book about her experience that became a bestseller. All of us turned our pain into purpose. And Grant? He's exactly where he belongs, with decades left on his sentence, his name synonymous with betrayal and fraud, his legacy nothing but cautionary tales and court documents. Meanwhile, I'm here, thriving, living, loving, building, creating, winning. That's what they don't tell you about revenge. The best revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about becoming so happy, so successful, so fulfilled that their attempts to destroy you become nothing more than the origin story of your greatest triumph. You want to know if karma is real? Let me tell you, it's not some mystical force that magically punishes bad people. Karma is what happens when survivors refuse to stay victims. When we choose to transform our pain into power. When we decide that the person who hurt us doesn't get to write the ending to our story. Karma is me, standing here, happy and whole and free. Karma is Grant, locked away, knowing that every woman he tried to destroy is thriving without him. Karma is justice served, lessons learned, and lives rebuilt stronger than before. So to everyone listening to this story, everyone who's been betrayed or manipulated or hurt by someone they trusted, hear me when I say this. You are not broken. You are not stupid. You are not to blame for someone else's cruelty. And you have the power to turn your tragedy into triumph.
It won't be easy.
It won't be quick. There will be days when you want to give up, when the pain feels too heavy, when you wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. But I promise you, if you keep moving forward, if you choose yourself every day, if you refuse to let their betrayal define your story, you will rise. You will heal. You will thrive. And one day, you'll tell your story, and instead of crying, you'll smile. Because you'll realize that the person who tried to break you actually gave you the opportunity to become unbreakable. Before I go, I want to ask you something. How are you doing? Really doing? If this story resonated with you, if you've experienced betrayal or manipulation, I want you to know you're not alone. Leave a comment below. Share your story if you feel comfortable. Connect with others who understand. Because that's how we heal, together. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I have more stories to tell, more experiences to share, more proof that survival is possible and thriving is inevitable. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that they can overcome anything. And remember, your story isn't over. The person who hurt you doesn't get the last word. You do. And your next chapter? It's going to be incredible. My name is Nia Morrison, and this was the story of how betrayal taught me my own strength, how darkness led me to light, and how the worst thing that ever happened to me became the catalyst for the best version of myself. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, you are stronger than you know, braver than you believe, and worthy of a love that's real. Until next time, keep rising.